Straight ahead on 12 News, returning to her Brooklyn Park roots. The girl with soul aims to shine in the Twin Cities, then celebrating a pond that some kids say is a unique experience. But first,
we don't need to be afraid in Minnesota.
Efforts ratchet up to educate the public about the Ebola virus. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. The death toll from the Ebola disease in West Africa continues to rise.
Today, Liberia is reporting more than 100 deaths from the virus, and that has residents in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center increasingly concerned, and for good reason. There's an estimated 30,000 people of Liberian descent living in Minnesota. Brooklyn Park says 10% of its population, about 6,000 to 8,000 people, have ties to Liberia. Hennepin County alerted hospitals and clinics about the possibility of the disease in patients who have traveled to that region. But officials say the actual threat of Ebola here is still very low. Liberia's connection to Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center runs deep. Liberians may live here, but they have a heart for their homeland.
It's going to be called Bluma Elementary School.
From building schools to helping rebuild the country's fire department.
Our team had an opportunity to work side by side with the Liberian firefighters.
The Brooklyns have reached out to connect with Liberia, so people come and go from that region to these cities every week, including dignitaries like the Liberian president who came to Brooklyn Center in 2009.
It's talking about the Ebola case.
And everyday people like Lavette Wallace, who got a text warning her of the growing threat in Africa.
It seemed like the situation is getting worse.
It's a serious situation in Africa.
It's scary and people are dying.
But officials say it's not a threat here.
When we think about the United States, Minnesota, and the Northwest Metro in particular, at this point, no, the risk is very, very small.
The Ebola virus is deadly. There's no vaccine and no treatment. But to contract Ebola, you must come into contact with someone infected. And so far, there are no cases in the U.S.
We need to be alert and prepared, but we don't need to be afraid in Minnesota.
Just because someone has traveled to West Africa doesn't mean they came in contact with Ebola.
If you see someone who just traveled to Liberia and they're fine, it's not a problem.
But officials understand the concern and say the solution is to be aware.
There's absolutely no reason for panic. I think, the appropriate response within the community is certainly, to get educated and make sure that, you understand Ebola.
There are 2 community meetings scheduled for residents to learn more about the Ebola outbreak. The first is on Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Community Activity Center in Brooklyn Park. The Minnesota Department of Health has scheduled a community information session in Brooklyn Center at Constitution Hall on Wednesday. That starts at 6:30.
4 people are charged with holding up a fast food restaurant in Brooklyn Center, including one person who was a former employee. According to court documents, 3 men came into the McDonald's on Xerxes Avenue last Saturday night and ordered workers into the back at gunpoint. They demanded that the manager open the safe and put cash in a backpack. Police say one of the workers recognized 22-year-old Travis Trotter of Brooklyn Center as a customer. And police say Chantel Ransom admitted setting up the robbery. She told police she worked at the restaurant for 3 years and had been promoted to manager. All 4 are charged with aggravated robbery.
Local police departments are among those mourning the death of Mendota Heights officer Scott Patrick. Patrick is the veteran officer who was killed on Wednesday during a routine traffic stop. He was a member of the Mendota Heights force since 1995. In Plymouth and across the state, police are wearing dark bands over their badges as a sign of mourning. Chief Mike Goldstein says it hits hard when an officer is killed so close to home.
It's just really hard to digest. Our hearts go out to the officers and the other personnel within the city of Mendota Heights. Coincidentally, yesterday morning, their police chief was in our building at a meeting. He left here at about 12:05, and I'm sure he wasn't very far down the road when he got the news.
Local departments are also making arrangements to allow officers to attend Patrick's memorial service once those details become available. New Hope Police are also offering to help Mendota Heights with their National Night Out events next week.
The Osseo City Council is in favor of a proposed teen center moving into a vacant storefront. First, though, it wants to make sure the building is safe. Passion Church in Maple Grove wants to lease space on Central Avenue. The building would be a place for area teens to hang out, play games, and do homework. It would be open each day after school and at certain times during the summer. But before the teen center is allowed, it must pass inspections by city, police, and fire officials. Drivers in New Hope will encounter a road closure today and Friday. Portions of Boone Avenue are closed between 49th Avenue and Bass Lake Road. The closure is necessary to install a final layer of pavement, and limited access will be provided for residents and businesses. A Brooklyn Park resident who has thrilled fans with her singing in the United Kingdom has returned to the Twin Cities.
Timotha Lanae has quite a show planned for Friday night. Reporter Eric Nelson gives us a sneak peek.
Timothalanae. Timotha Lanae is back in the USA.
It all started here in Minnesota. I'm born and raised, born and bred, a Brooklyn Park girl, Minneapolis girl.
On Friday night in St. Paul, the music queen of England performs her first full U.S. concert since rising to the top of the UK soul charts.
There's just something about coming home and with the family and the friends and the people that have supported you from the ground up, and I'm just excited to give them a great show.
The concert is called A Night to Rewind. Lanae will spin things back a bit, singing songs from her Red and EP Rewind CDs.
I write from life experience, and that's what Rewind is about. It's just about those times that you sometimes want to do it over because it was so fun, or you want to do it over because you messed up.
You gonna lose yourself, people please.
Lanae's catchy music is a fusion of many sounds.
Soul is at the root of everything I do. I love gospel music also. I love jazz also. So you'll hear all that, a touch of jazz, R&B, soul, and hip-hop, all in my music.
Timotha is pumped up about the chance to perform back home, especially here in the Twin Cities. After all, her career took off right here at Park Center High.
I did my first musical at Park Center High School, West Side Story. I played the role of Anita, and then to move and do that on the big stage, you know, I did at Chanhassen, and then to be over in Tokyo performing.
And I find myself talking.
From around the globe to the Twin Cities, Lanae has come full circle.
And I find myself.
Friday night, she will prove you can go home again.
It's an exciting journey, and I hope there's a lot more to come.
In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
Lanae's concert is at the Amsterdam Bar and Hall in St. Paul starting at 9. For ticket information, go to 12.tv. And I bet she has a crowd there to support her.
Sounds like fun, yeah, it does.
Yeah. Just when many flowers start to fade, these plants start to pop.
We're in the garden with tips to help your hydrangeas coming up next. Then later in sports, the Champlin Park American Legion baseball team is set for the state tournament, and we catch up with the team.
But first, the heat is building in your AccuWeather forecast. Friday will feel more humid.
Hydrangeas are very popular and come in many different varieties, but they can be a little tricky to maintain if you don't know what you're doing.
Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden with some hydrangea how-to tips.
These are ones that you probably saw at your grandma's place.
You can't miss the big pom-pom blooms on hydrangeas.
This is one of my favorite. This one is Phantom.
Donna Italia with Line Greenhouse says many people have been coming into the store asking questions about hydrangeas.
We have a lot of different varieties of hydrangeas, and most people don't realize that.
Some hydrangeas turn colors, like the Endless Summer variety.
You can change the color from pink to blue to purple, depending upon the variety of those.
While others keep their hue.
This one is Great Star. This one's got sort of a lemony smell.
Flower color changes depend on the soil. Hydrangeas do very well in acidic soil.
This is a fertilizer that you would add to the soil. It's got all the nutrients that it would need, and you can also use it on evergreens.
Most hydrangeas will bloom in the summer and throughout the fall.
Annabelles are over here.
The plants also come in many different forms: trees, shrubs, and plants. Any type will look great in a vase.
You can use them for cut flowers, arrangements, dried flowers. They look wonderful in dried flower arrangements.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
One of my favorite flowers, hydrangeas do well in full sun or in partial shade. The plants also prefer moist, well-drained soil. And Sonia said it's still okay to plant those in her yard, so still have time.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I can. I'm planning on it. Coming up, a local fishing experience that's drawing rave reviews.
But first, tips from a pro fisherman, Terry Tuma, as his weekly fishing tip in sports with Jay Wilcox. pretty good when you have a shot at 2 state tournaments in 1 year, and I guess that's the case for some of the baseball players for Champlin Park.
That's right. The seasons aren't really very far apart, so the disappointment from the springtime high school season, you get over that. Champlin Park's high school baseball team lost in the Section 5 3A final this spring, falling just short of the state tournament. As John Jacobson reports, many of the same guys are happy to be headed to a different state tournament this weekend.
It's a last go-round as teammates for the Champlin Post 600 American Legion baseball team. The squad is preparing for this weekend's State Legion tournament in Eagan.
I've been playing with these guys since freshman year, and it's going to be hard to leave them and start new. But yeah, we're a great group of guys, and I think we're going to do well.
We wanted to have a really fun Legion year. You know, probably the last time that we get to play with a lot of these guys, and we were in this situation with VFW with the same group of guys, so it's really cool to come back and see what we can do in state now against some pretty good ball teams. So.
Champlin Park is 20-6 this summer and breezed through the Sub-State 11 tournament last week in Coon Rapids, winning all 4 games and getting 4 complete games from their pitchers.
We got lucky with our 2 guys, with Rushmeyer and Kaminsky. They both threw 9-inning complete games, with Trev going against Andover. And then we had 2 7-inning games where the bats came alive, but the pitching was still there.
The 16-team state journey features, if you keep winning, 4 games in 4 days, at least. Like the sub-state tournament, the games are 9 innings, not 7 like the regular season. So getting good pitching like they did last week is a key.
Pitching sets the tone, especially as you get deeper in the tournament. You see the arms that, either they're not that elite arm, they're not that top-level arm, or there might be a tired arm because it's a positional guy that's coming in to pitch, or a guy that maybe has already thrown in the tournament.
Champlin opens the tournament against the St. Cloud Chutes, the Legion team for Cathedral High School. The Crusaders won the high school Class 2A title in June, and many of those players beat Champlin in the state VFW final 2 years ago.
They're great all around. They're just like us. They hit, they pitch, they field, everything.
We have a little bit of beef with them, I guess. We have to get some of our revenge.
Pitching ace Brandon Rushmeyer will throw the tournament opener as the Rebels hope for a second straight trophy-winning weekend. John Jacobson, 12 Sports.
Champlin Park and St. Cloud play at 9 a.m. Friday at Eagan High School. We'll have highlights of that one Friday at 4. Fields in Burnsville and Bloomington are also being used for the 4-day tournament. Well, the Old Pros teed up for real Friday in the opening round of the 3M Championship Golf Tournament. Thursday it was a final round of Pro-Am rounds in preparation for that tournament. One of the players in the 3M this year is Edinburgh USA Pro Don Barry, who was in on a sponsor exemption. Barry's played in the 3M before, but it's still a thrill.
I'm so happy to be here, and Hollis gave me an exemption this year, and I owe him a lot for that, and it's been really fun. You never get tired of this atmosphere, this golf course, this tournament, so something I'm really looking forward to doing.
Tom Lehman's another local favorite in the 3M. The tournament gets started Friday and runs through Sunday, and best of all, general admission tickets are once again free. As we head into August, there's still plenty of time for good fishing this summer. In this week's Channel 12 fishing tip, Terry Tuma talks about the use of spinnerbaits for catching bass.
Spinnerbait selection for largemouth bass is not difficult, but there are some sort of, shall we say, guidelines or rules, if you will. And of course, we always need to experiment, like we've always talked about. Versatility is a key ingredient. But first of all, the reason that bass react to spinnerbaits, it's not because they imitate a food source. What it is, it's the flash of the blade, or the blade, the vibration, the skirt. These are some of the coloration. These are some of the ingredients in getting a strike from a bass. But what we really need to understand, first of all, Colorado blades, which are very popular, is as such creates the most vibration in the water. So that's going to be a big factor. And then, of course, your painted blades you want to use in darker water conditions or night fishing. And the other that's extremely popular is going to be your willow leaf blades, and then your Indiana blades. So both of these, and one's going to create a little bit more vibration than the other. And here again, too, working with the golds and the silvers and the whites and so forth, do some experimentation. Your willow leaf is going to be more of a, shall we say, a less vibration manufacturer than the Indiana. This will be more of a intermediate blade of vibration size and flash. So these are going to be the ingredients in catching largemouth bass. But do practice spinnerbaits. Not just now one spinnerbait's going to catch fish every day, all day long. It's just not going to happen. So practice versatility even in spinnerbaits.
Thanks very much, Terry. I know you're taking notes there, Shannon.
Yeah, pretty and shiny. That's what they like.
All right.
Thanks, Jay. Still ahead, what's described as one of the most organized sales in the Twin Cities.
Plus, in an era of gadgets and devices, kids find something else that's reeling them in. We'll be right back.
If you can find it at a garage sale, it's going to be here. If you can find it in a store, it's going to be here. Cram it all in here.
And they aren't kidding either. Everything from books and clothes to toys, tools, furniture, and sporting goods can be found at the 20th Annual Family of God Church Sale. It runs through Saturday. The church on Zane Avenue prides itself in being what it calls the most organized garage sale in the city.
So we take incoming items for almost a month and we individually price them and then we set them out and you know, we're always picking up and cleaning up and it's very well organized.
The sale is more than just a fundraiser for the church. It's also a community building event. About 75% of church members contribute in some way to the sale. It looks like they need all hands on deck to get it ready.
They have a lot of stuff.
They do.
Wow.
Finally, an idea that emerged 7 years ago is now really catching on.
Well, today, Brooklyn Park celebrated the grand opening of the newly named Sunfish Pond. It was once a stormwater pond, but with city help, it has turned into a family fishing attraction. For one child attending summer camp at the Community Activity Center, Sunfish Pond has already made quite an impression, not to mention offer a place that Brooklyn Park really didn't have before.
And it's really fun for me because I used to go somewhere that wasn't that fun. They stayed in every day. They liked to be on their devices. It just wasn't fun.
Like we build, healthy places for them to go play basketball and parks and recs and our community activity center here. That's when I really decided, you know what, we need to build a place where these kids can come and the ones that want to go fishing can come down here, walk down here, right next to the police department in a safe environment and go fishing.
Inspector Bruley, an avid fisherman himself, started the kids' fishing effort, never realizing that it would come to this someday. Besides sunfish, the pond, whoops, trying to get away. The pond is also stocked with catfish, so just grab a license, a fishing pole, and a kid and go down there.
And I love the look on that little girl's face. I caught it, now what do I do?
That's worth $1 million, isn't it?
That's right.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you tomorrow. Community Corner is up next.